Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Thursday, the 18th of November 2021, and we're producing our Thursday morning gold and silver price update, forecast, and daily news. Gold and silver are marginally up today, and the rest of the week, frankly, is likely to be somewhat grey and uneventful, at least economically speaking, we suggest. Let's take a look. Welcome to Illuminati Silver. It's Thursday, the 18th of November 2021 at 09:24 in the morning. The weather today is grey. Yes, grey. Dull, overcast, quite misty. Pretty much nondescript. What is also grey is the accusation that Brexit once again is causing problems. Brexit dispute risks fanning inflation and pushing the Bank of England rate rise. Let's have a look at that for a moment. Britain's debate about whether to walk away from post-Brexit commitments with the European Union over Northern Ireland risks unsettling an already sputtering economic recovery. It's so sputtering we shall see in a moment what Goldman Sachs plans to do with the UK. With the government in London threatening to invoke Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol, which governs trade in the region, economists warn that retaliatory measures from Brussels could hit exports and investments and deliver a further blow to the pound. So for those who are buying gold and silver in pounds, if this were to happen, you will see the pound value of those asset classes rising. A few weeks ago, repeated last week, we said keep your eye on the China-US relations. And Paulson warns of dangerous world if the China-US tensions worsen. The world is headed for a very dangerous place if Washington and Beijing are unable to stabilize their relationship. Former US Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson said in a speech on the second day of the Bloomberg New Economy Forum in Singapore. The blunt warning comes just days after President Joe Biden and his China counterpart Xi Jinping held their first virtual summit, signaling a tentative effort to put a floor under ties between the two countries. We'll watch that one. That's the one piece of geopolitical news that we are watching quite closely. Let's go back to how terrible Brexit is. Well, if it is, then why is Goldman Sachs boosting its bets on London to target the world's super rich? Goldman Sachs Group Inc. has stepped up the expansion of its private banking team in London as it builds out its operations targeting the world's ultra-wealthy. The New York-based bank has hired at least 9 private wealth advisors in the city this year, from rivals including Barclays plc, Julius Baer Group, and Union Bancaire Privée. This month, Clement Hutton Mills joined as a managing director in Goldman Sachs UK private wealth unit from Rothschild & Co. Notice these names. These are very well established, most of them, not all, British names. Building on the 60 or so advisors to the super rich added in the past 2 years across Europe, the Middle East and Africa. We will continue to scale up as we see an opportunity to find the right talent, and we see client demand. Yes, indeed. Why are the super rich coming to the UK if Brexit is such a disaster? And now on a slightly different policy shift, and many people in the US and many people in the UK and many people in Europe will find this strange. Japan is operating an almost opposite policy to those countries mentioned earlier. In a major shift for a country long closed to immigrants, Japan is looking to allow foreigners in certain blue-collar jobs to stay indefinitely, starting as early as the 2022 fiscal year. Why? Because they're running out of key workers. That is why. Aging population, people retiring. If you stop immigration entirely, Unless you have a high birth rate, which Japan doesn't have a particularly high birth rate, you're going to be in trouble, especially if you wish to expand. Having said that, too much immigration, you drive prices down, you drive incomes down, and you cause an economic glut. Okay, let's have a look what the BBC have to say today. £96 billion for rail, but Leeds HS2 leg due to be scrapped. So is that more public money wasted? Shares plunge in India's biggest ever market debut. And engineering must change to include everyone. And Evergrande sells streaming firm stake for $273 million, perhaps to pay off some of its debt. In the US, a deadly storm cuts transport links around Vancouver. We looked at this very, very briefly yesterday. Capitol riot QAnon shaman sentenced to prison. Yes, he got over 3 years imprisonment for his involvement on the Capitol riot. How's the dollar doing? Well, we've said expect it ultimately to reach 96, but yesterday when it was at just over 95.7, we said it's going to cool down a little bit for a short time and then rise further. And if, as we've already mentioned, the pound should fall further, then we will see the dollar index go up yet again. Currently at 95.74. Energy prices broadly down $0.25 to $0.50. US stocks all down yesterday between 1/4 and 0.5%. Asia Pacific also down again between roughly 1/4 and 1.25%. And Europe, Middle East and Africa, including UK, mixed. UK down, but the Euro, DAX and CAC marginally up. US economic data. We stated that Tuesdays would be the most important as far as this week is concerned, and so it has proven so far, with the retail sales coming in much higher than expected. Yesterday we had the building permits, which were higher than expected, but the housing starts, which were lower than expected. Interesting situation. Now today we have the initial and continuous jobless claims. We're going to look at that one a little bit closer than perhaps some of the other data this week, except for retail sales, just to see if we are on track for earlier rate rises sometime next year. And we have the various Fed governors and presidents speaking during the course of this week. We had a few yesterday, we have 1 or 2 today, and we have a couple tomorrow. There is no economic data being published tomorrow, so really, apart from the jobless claims figures, there's not going to be much economically that's going to impact the price of gold and silver for the duration of this week, which is why we think from current levels it might move a little, but it's not going to be significant. And we can see over the last 24 hours gold has risen $4 to $1,865, and silver has risen 3 cents to 25.12. Silver needs to stay above that 25 level to give us conviction that its prices are going to go higher. But we do think that eventually buyers of gold are going to target that $1,900 level. And we don't think that is going to be too far into the future. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, not really recovering from the last 2 days' fall. Now at $59,273, though the market cap is up 0.5% at 2.59 trillion. That's it. We're going to keep today's video short. Relatively grey day. Not necessarily grey news today, but not a lot more due to happen unless something geopolitical raises its head. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign. Until tomorrow. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.